Man, I hate that we have to talk about officiating, and so we can talk about that at any point. We can start with it or put it at the end. But UGA Auburn, Auburn at the middle of more officiating controversy. UGA fights back, gets it done. It felt like Auburn would really need that touchdown to go their way, which I did think he got in. I'll tell you, I thought that he crossed the plane. No pun intended, where they were playing. But UGA finds a way to get it done against Auburn, who we talked about freeze at the beginning of this thing and the hot seat stuff. What direction do you want to go here?
So you think that he crossed the pylon?
I thought he did. I thought the angle showed the zoomed in angle. I thought it showed he did.
Yeah. So I personally, and I'll stand on this, I thought that if the call stood on the field that he had crossed the pylon, should have been on the field, he crossed the pylon. Because remember, what they did was they ruled it a fumble, then they reviewed it a second time, and then they said, didn't cross the pylon. The problem is that with the SEC at this point, the last thing you can afford to do is trust the zebras to make the right call.
Yeah.
You just can't. So you have to leave no doubt. And whether or not I want to come out and say that Auburn should have been in the end zone, you left out. You left out because of you saw where the ball ricocheted as soon as it crossed the pylon. Not like he was going down and you had already seen it and then it falls out and they rescue it. Credit to Raylan Wilson, credit to CJ Allen. They saw where the ball was, knocked it loose, grabbed it, made sure they were able to get it before they ruled it out. Just didn't say anything along those lines. So, in my opinion, if you're going to trust at this point in 2025, SEC officiating to get the call done, I'm sorry, that's on you. That is 100% on you. Now, here's where I will fight back and I will defend Auburn a little bit. I don't care if Kirby Smart said, I'm clapping. This is not clapping. This is clapping. This is a timeout. So when you go out and you say, we're gonna take the timeout back. You were trying to go ahead and say, no, it's a timeout. It is, and I don't care if Auburn finds a way to come on back in that game. That is egregiously illogical from officiating. It simply is mind-boggling. And Sean McDonough was on the broadcast. He was talking about it, and he was saying, like, how, he's trying to say, I was clapping. They're not allowed to clap. It's like, but who claps like, TJ, who claps like this? Nobody. Who in the hell claps? Nobody.
Seals?
It's this or it's this. But there's none of the clap hands. It's not. And so that was beyond infuriating. And officiating the entire final drive after the fumble also was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, every single other play, penalty. It's like, at some point, can you let them play football? Can you let them make a play? Like the Kane Lee targeting call, as much as even I want to say, like, it potentially could have been, and I won't act like that. I know entirely if you truly thought he led with the crowd, I've said I personally didn't. But that was like the fourth penalty of the drive. It's just like, what are we doing at some point? Like, why are we not allowing anybody just to actually go out and play football? Now, actually, onto the game. Let's talk about it. Georgia plays an uncomfortable brand of football where they're never feeling like they're doubting. They doubt internally, but it isn't pretty. I mean, this is the third game where they have struggled offensively to get off the map. This is the third game. Tennessee, Alabama, Auburn, where the offense is so pedestrian for the first half that you eventually are watching as the game unfolds, and you're like, if they score here, you're out of luck. Like Auburn really needed that touchdown because of if they didn't get the touchdown, Georgia may have had no answer at that point. And the score may have been 17-14 final, but a win's a win, an upset's an upset, and crazy things happen at cheering here at night. But you cannot afford to have these slow starts anymore if you're Georgia. Because once you're going to see is that in offense, we got to take our shots. Take them early, and then when we get up, go for the crushing blow. Get the knockout punch at that point. Because there's going to come a team that will be able to hold its own with a substantial lead, and they'll allow Georgia to work its way back in. But what they won't do is they won't allow Georgia to retake the lead at some point.
No, it's what Alabama did. It's exactly what Alabama did.
They will be able to slow it down enough. And so you can't afford that against Ole Miss. I don't think you can afford that in Jacksonville against Florida if Florida's offense shows on up. Georgia Tech, if it's a slow, methodic game, they might be able to use that in your favor. You still have to face off against Texas, they may be able to do it with the way their offense looked at times. So you cannot afford a slow start.
I'll get right back to the video, but first I do want to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper. Do not delay. We're like halfway through the month. The offer only goes through October, but if you've been waiting to deposit, if you've been waiting to put money into the app, you don't even have to do that now. You get a free $20 play by putting our code in CFA for College Football Addiction on the Sleeper app. The link in the description literally will auto-populate that for you. You don't have to spend money. You don't have to deposit if you're cheap or you just don't trust whatever. Go and make a free play right now. You get a free $20 on the Sleeper app. You go in, you pick more or less on at least 2 players, games that you like. They've got free picks all the time. I saw that last night Jared Goff had a more or less of 0.5. Go and deposit on the Sleeper app right now. If you also want a $100 match up to $100, you can get that. But again, you don't have to. You just get a free $20 play. Go and play. We'll play that live on the Power 2 on Wednesday. Give you some of our favorite picks from the weekend. Let you know how we did last week so you can trust or fade what we're doing. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check them out.
But you find a way to win. There were a lot of things that Gunnar Stockton did well in this game that won't be shown on the highlight tape and won't be shown on the stat line. But he made some decisive throws, really good decision making, matured in front of our eyes going into the second half, to where I think that he's guaranteed. He's earned the right to be called the starter. Nobody should be taking that away from him. He was 100% locked in, and eventually he was able to kind of go ahead and put the ball rolling. Got the big-time touchdown. Got the big play to Noah Thomas on the 30-yard grab. You still saw the livelihood of what you got with Zachariah Branch and Colby Young stepping on up, and ultimately it was enough to be able to get the job done. Now, here's where I will go after Auburn, and this is where I'm going to get really, really frustrated. Go blame the refs all you want. Go ahead and cry your eyes out that you lost once again because of bad officiating. TJ, I'm going to read some stat lines off just for Auburn fans to let this sink on in. You had 277 yards and you won the time of possession before the final drive. You understand that? You had an 8-minute time differential before the final drive and you had still fewer yards than Georgia. You had 11 penalties for 103 yards. You lost the turnover battle. You were inefficient through the air passing. You averaged 4.4 yards a play. So spare me the theatrics of, well, officiating cost us. You're an undisciplined football team.
Yeah.
You're still making similar mistakes that you made in 2023. And I really hate this one. The offense for Hugh Freeze has not grown in any way since 2023. Not even a little bit. The same plays that we saw being run with Jarquez Hunter, we're seeing being run this year. 3 years, we're into this shit. And that's what we see. And I hear all the people saying, well, you got to hold out hope for Hugh Freeze because of all of these recruits that he's brought in. TJ, what's the point of having the recruits if they're not going to be developed?
Yeah.
Like, what's the point of saying, oh, well, we're going to keep Cam Coleman and he's going to be a 4th-round pick. We're going to keep Keldrick Falk and he's going to be a day 3 selection. Oh, we're gonna add in all these great defensive back players, and they're gonna end up being a top 20 unit, but their offense can't get the job done. Oh, we're gonna continue to go after offensive linemen, and they proceed to get mollywopped by other teams. And that's a reflection of the coach. So spare me at this point when it comes to, well, Hugh Freeze, what he's doing on the recruiting trail. It's not panning out. Wins matter at some point. Wins in close games matter at some point. Wins against teams where you have them on the ropes and you can't finish matter at some point. And if you don't get the job done and you're not being properly developed and you're not representing the program at the next level and you're not seeing the fruits of your labor be completely unveiled, that is your head coach's identity.
Yeah.
Georgia won a football game and Auburn still looks so undisciplined. Stop it. Spare me the theatrics that officiating was the reason you lost. You lost because of horrendous execution. And what I really thought, TJ, after they got the touchdown that was called back and it was ruled a fumble, Hugh Freeze gave up. My opinion, Hugh Freeze gave up. And he wanted to find a way to blame the ref. And then John Cohen screaming on the sidelines as they're getting into halftime. And it's like, guys, you still have 30 minutes to play. And it's like you unloaded everything on that clip, that drive. Everything from the clip, just out. All right, we got nothing left. And that's why Georgia was able to win the football game. Because their identity is, we're going to find a way to fight back and win even when we're down. But we're not going to quit. It felt like Auburn quit.
Felt like every single, and it's understandable for every single bit of air to be sucked out of a stadium after something like that.
Yeah.
But I agree completely. The way that the staff responded was not very good. And the way that the team responded after that, it's almost like they hung their heads and they knew. And they had George, I don't want to say they had him because you never truly have Kirby Smart, but opportunity blown. And again, at the end of the day, they didn't play well enough.
No.
Right? They just did not play well enough. And the ref stuff was certainly frustrating if you're a fan, but it was a lot more than just that. So
it is. And again, that's something that you're going to have to live with, unfortunately, but you can't use it as your only crutch.
Yep.
You can't.